Evening, everyone. Terrorist Avatar_X here. For legal reasons, that's a joke. Who said I terrorised KFC? Shut up, you. I'm not that bad, am I? Right, breathe. Sometimes I really am. I really should be ashamed of myself sometimes. But I always was a no-holds-barred person when it comes down to my width. Sorry, I mean wit. I meant wit, for fuck's sake. Can't even get the words out. But obviously when it comes down to the situation we're living in right now, it's far from a joke. We have the Reformians who are preaching more doom than a naysayer in the medieval times. We have Keir the traitor Starmer, who has committed more treachery than Tony the war criminal Blair times 10. And believe you me, that's being generous. And we have riots occurring all over the place in the West, which may be a sign that we are next on the Civil War priority list, which, as I've always said, and will continue to do so without fail, I don't want it to head to civil war. But the truth is, that's where we're heading. Especially with a constant influx of illegal immigrants. Though I did find it rather funny, someone used the term gimmie-grants in the context of they expect these illegals to be basically putting their arms out and saying, gimme, gimme. Well, don't give me bloody temptation, baby. Anyway, these people could be conceived as gimmie-grants because of the fact they constantly want us to give them everything. These people are given, they're basically given the red carpet treatment, as I've already said many, many times. If they want food, we practically prepare them a royal banquet. If they want somewhere to stay, they practically get a 5-star hotel. And if they want money, they get benefits without even so much as a question as to why they're here. But of course, under Keir the traitor Starmer's new directives of what is considered extreme right-wing ideology, if you're concerned about the replacement of Western culture, or you are seen to discriminate or incite violence against these illegals, you are considered a terrorist. I mean, okay, I could kind of get behind the third one, because obviously you can't go inciting violence against people. But I think the other two are a big fucking stretch, if you ask me. Because discrimination would imply that these illegals are being unfairly treated, which all seems about as likely as me achieving a medal in horse racing, and the horse coming out in one piece. And now you know why they're calling the term I could eat a horse. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, these illegal immigrants that are coming over here, mostly from their third world shitholes, they have not been very unfairly treated. In fact, I'd go as far as saying that we, the English people, have basically bent over backwards for these people. They basically take with one hand, we give in one hand, and they take a fist and punch us in the gut with the other. We could give these people the world, and they'll find a way to say it's not enough. A bit like James Bond. They will find a way to say this is not enough. Though I must admit, there was a short that really did make me laugh. I think it was stroke number 1, Anglo-Saxon bloke, who put out this clip, this short, which basically shows, I think it's AI generated, unfortunately, but it shows a Nijel-Al-Faraji in baby form, and basically he goes, well, this migrant was given 3 wishes for the first... Stroke number 2. For his first wish, he was, he's basically asking, I'd like a banquet, or I'd like some food. And a banquet appeared in front of him. The second wish he asked for was he asked for somewhere to stay. And he got a giant mansion with a swimming pool. And for his third wish, he said, I'd like to be British. And then the other 2 wishes disappeared. Just like that. And what came out next was truly hilarious. You are British, mate. You aren't entitled to any of these fucking things. Or something along those lines. I wish I was entitled to a healthy body and a healthy life. But I've already had 2 strokes in 4 minutes, so it's not looking good for me. But now if we're seen to basically be saying, well, these illegal immigrants have no legal or human right to be here, if we come out, thank you, hoodlum, if we come out and say that these people should be sent back to their country of origin, Keir the traitor Starmer will do everything he can to send the boys round. And we'll end up likely getting done in for some kind of so-called hate speech, which there is no such thing. You can incite violence, you can incite terrorism, but there is no such thing as hate speech unless you are actively doing one or the other. Their little terminology of hate speech is so broad, it could encompass just about everything. And it means Ethel could be tweeting something completely bloody innocent, and all of a sudden she's getting her door kicked down by 20 men, and then being sent to the local Nick for sending a tweet on the internet or making a comment on YouTube. All this because of something innocent that she may have said, which can now be construed by our treacherous establishment as something completely malign and malicious when it could be nothing of the sort. I mean, we've already seen what's happened in one girl's case, Lucy Connolly, who, yes, what she said was a bit distasteful, and it did encourage inciting criminal damage at best, but at the end of the day, her sentence was disproportionate compared to some other people. As I've said before, 31 months she has to serve in jail for a tweet she deleted within hours rather. Meanwhile, Nazir Ahmed, a Labour councillor, Labour MP, he ended up being caught buggering boys and raping a boy under the age of, well, 12. I think he was 11 when he was raped. He ended up getting 5.5 years, but Judge Hemroyd, Helleroyd, or whatever his name is, or maybe I was right first time, decided that's too much. So we'll reduce it to the low price of 30 months in prison for violating a child. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. But in the meantime, we're supposed to sit here and say, oh yes, immigration is the best thing since sliced bread. We're supposed to sit here and say that it's perfectly okay for people from third world shitholes to turn our country into a third world shithole. Last time I checked, this is a Christian country, an English country, not an Islamic country. Therefore, these illegals that are coming over here, well, number one, even if they were supposed to be welcomed here by Keir the traitor Starmer, because he's fast-tracking the asylum seekers and what have you, or sorry, asylum seekers, maybe I should stick him in a bloody asylum, quite frankly. But Keir the traitor Starmer wants to fast-track them. He wants to give them priority on the NHS waiting list, and in the meantime, if we dare to speak negatively about it, we could end up locked up, just like that. We're supposed to just sit here and take it. We're supposed to bend over and take it in the arse, bluntly speaking. Like hell am I. But number two is that because they've entered this country illegally, they should immediately be sent back, whether it's to France or whether it's back to country of origin, ideally. Because at the end of the day, they have entered this country illegally. They should not be rewarded for making the trip over here. And to all the leftoids who want to sit there and say refugees are welcome here, if that's the case, why haven't you taken any in yet? Why haven't you taken in the illegals that you are so obviously interested in? Please answer that one on a postcard to whatthefuckisgoingon.com. But of course you won't take them in, because you know full well, like Egypt did, they basically said, as far as the immigration crisis, they went out of their way to say, we don't want these people here, even though we've got 2 million hotels, Saudi Arabia that is, we had 2 million, sorry, did I say hotels? 2 million tents. We had 2 million tents for these illegals. We don't want them because they know full well these guys are terrorists, or a lot of them are at least. They didn't want to run the risk of being terrorised by these people. But again, the mainstream media is not going to tell you that. And Keir the traitor Starmer wants to silence anybody who has criticism of that. Those people in Egypt had the right idea. It's sad that they have a better understanding of what the fuck is going on over Keir the traitor Starmer, who is about as clued in as the obsolete man. Frankly, I don't really care if Keir the traitor Starmer's two-tier police come knocking at my door. I don't have much to lose anymore. And you know what they say? A man with nothing to lose is probably the most dangerous man of them all. I will say whatever the fuck I want. And if you don't like it, Keir the traitor Starmer, you know where to find me. I'll be in that corner of your head, living in there rent-free. giving you the middle finger. You really do not want to make an enemy of patriots, Starmer. You really don't. Because at this point, if you're going to label practically every concerned person in this country, and I would say there's quite a few million of them, if not more, but if you're going to label every concerned person in this country who's worried about immigration, worried about our national security, worried about our economy, worried about our food situation, if you're going to worry all about that lot and calling them all terrorists, how long do you think it'll take for them to rise up against you? Because that's the thing. They're not going to take kindly to being libelously slandered by you, Starmer, and you should know that, considering you were a lawyer for human rights, no less. And yet you had no problem with violating the rights of one of your own people under Article 3 of the Human Rights Act, torture. The torture of Tommy Robinson, a man that you refused to put in a open prison that he deserved to be in because he was a civil prisoner, not a criminal prisoner, and a person that you have basically openly persecuted since your reign started, Keir the traitor Starmer. Unfortunately, I've got another fucking tannoy Tina to worry about. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, Keir the traitor Starmer is going to make an enemy of almost the entire population at this point, or at least those that are predominantly and proudly English/British, whichever way you want to slice it. We all know how these illegals want to slice it though, with a machete probably at our throats. But the way I look at it is, under Article 10 of the Human Rights Act, I have every fucking right to say what I have to say, as long as I'm not inciting violence or terrorism. And I'm going to say this right now. Being concerned about mass immigration, national security, and wanting to prioritise English people first, shut your mouth, you. And being able to prioritise the English people first, that's not inciting terrorism. You know what that is? It's wanting to look after your own country. It's wanting to look after your own people first. And if Keir the traitor Starmer thinks he is going to silence the English people with this shit, he's got another thing coming. But as I said before, as we all know, Keir the traitor Starmer is trying to push us towards a violent revolution. A devil's advocate here? At this point, it may well be what this country needs. It may well be, for all I know. But that doesn't mean I want it. I've always said that. I do not want a violent revolution. But the cold, bitter truth is, if this keeps up, there is no shot that we aren't going to head towards that shit. Like, no amount of Tommy Robinsons is ever going to stop that. And the way to look at it is this. If it does happen, history won't look back at us and think of us as, oh, look at them, they were far-right hooligans and thugs. Shut it. Shut up.
Get up here.
Let me strangle that tannoy girl, please. Anyway, the fact of the matter is that they won't look at us as scumbags. They won't look at us as thugs. They won't look at us as far-right, like Keir the traitor Starmer would want us to be looked at as. No, they will look at us as people pushed over the edge. They will look at us as people who were... Are you quite finished? They will look at us as heroes who wanted to fight for this country, who wanted it to be released from the oppressive regime of Keir the traitor Stalin. And they will look at Keir the traitor Stalin as the man responsible for stoking revolution, much like he was responsible for stoking the riots in Southport. He tried to paint the narrative that it was the so-called far-right who were responsible for inciting the violence, and the mainstream media piled on Tommy Robinson and falsely slandered him, accusing him of stoking those riots, when it was Starmer who was responsible for it. Tommy was calling for peace, but again, the mainstream media is not going to tell you that. It's just a load of lies that Starmer and his regime are pulling out of their arse every single time. I'm surprised they haven't got an arm that's completely brown at this point. Forget long arm of the law, this is the long arm of the shit. And Keir the traitor Starmer's got the biggest one. I mean, he can try all he wants to paint a picture on this canvas, but when the colours are mixed, the colours are ruined. You can't change that. You can try and fix the painting, but it will still look pretty shit just because of the damage that's already been done. You can't honestly expect people to believe your shit, Starmer. I would be very surprised at this point if your approval rating is anything other than like -50 or something. I would be very fucking surprised. And don't be fooled by this narrative of, oh, he's done a big U-turn on the winter fuel allowance. No, do not fall for that bullshit. This is merely a damage control exercise that he is performing, because he knows full well how despised he is. That man is as welcome in this country as a nonce is in a nursery. Any notion that this man is a good man needs to be thrown aside. He might be likeable outside of politics, but he is not likeable in politics at all. His engagement in sectarian politics, his treachery against the people, and constantly letting our national security become a non-priority at this point is completely and utterly reprehensible. He can't be too surprised at this point if he finally gets what he wants and gets that revolution. But I think he's going to be very disappointed when it blows up in his face. Because what does he think it's going to be? Does he think it's going to be like Southport, where it's only going to be like dozens of people, 100, 200 people? No, it's not going to be hundreds of people. It's going to be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people who take to the street and decide they've had enough. This is a tannoy message that is getting on my fucking tits, so shut up. But it will blow up in his face, I can guarantee you that. If he manages to get that revolution, it is going to be on a scale like we have never seen before. Like, it will be probably the biggest civil war in British/English history. If I haven't said it already, I'll say it here again. Think of it like the film V for Vendetta. Think of the main character, the main protagonist who ends up dying in it. V. The guy who basically inspires a nation to basically engage in a revolution as he single-handedly topples the government. Thank you. But V basically did all these daring things, and I don't endorse or condone the violence and what have you, but basically the premise of the film was he inspired a nation to rebel against the fascistic, tyrannical government. That could be a repeat in real life at this point. And when it does happen, Keir the traitor Starmer won't be able to blame the Tories, he won't be able to blame the far right. There will be only one person responsible for all this, and his name is Keir the traitor Starmer. He will only have himself to blame if a violent revolution breaks out. Like I said, none of us want it, but we will be ready for it. Mark my words. Here's something for you as well. Apparently, visa scam that makes mockery of PM's pledge on migration. Corrupt immigration advisors are helping illegal workers dupe the Home Office in a cash for visa scam. A male investigation has found, charging up to £22,000 per person. Yeah, shows you how much Keir the traitor Starmer is trying to control migration, doesn't it? Now please excuse me while I break the law and go under the influence of Lucozade. Whew! Man alive, that's got some punch. Anyway, enough about that. The way to look at this is Keir the traitor Starmer is doing everything he can to destroy our great nation. He is doing everything he can to replace old Whitey with people from third world shitholes. It is as simple as that. But as we can see from what he's gotten written up on the government website, he's doing everything he can to try and stop stroke number 3, to try stop people from saying it. I tried, I'm sorry, I tried. Anyway, he's doing everything he can to suppress us. He is unequivocally, indubitably, practicing the very definition of fascism. The very thing the left-wing NPCs like to accuse us of. So tell me, left-wingers, how does it feel to know that your leader is a fascist, I bet it doesn't feel too good, does it? That's the thing about your leader. That is the thing indeed. He is a hypocritical, lying, backstabbing, sectarian sack of shit. And nothing will ever change that. He is going to be known in history as the worst Prime Minister we have ever had. For at least the next 1,000 years. I've said that many times before, and I will say it here again, because I fundamentally believe it. I fundamentally believe that this man will be known in history as the worst Prime Minister ever to grace the houses of treachery. Sorry, Parliament. Or yet again, maybe I was right first time. He is a man who has single-handedly brought this country to its knees. And while I do accept that some of this also has the Conservative name on it, because of the immigration that they've failed to stop, I do accept that. It doesn't change the fact that Keir the traitor Starmer could have ended it all, just like that. But instead, Keir the traitor Starmer, instead of closing the gates shut, he pushed them wide open. He allowed a flood of illegals to come over to this country. Legal or illegals that have no legal or human right to be here. And a lot of these people have not really contributed much to society, unfortunately. Hell, when people are having to tell you that the Eritreans are 20 times more likely to commit sexual crimes against the people of the United Kingdom, 20 times more likely in context of British nationals, English nationals, whatever you want to bloody call them. I know somebody who keeps getting upset with me saying British, but that's why I include English alongside that, to hopefully make sure that shit is resolved. But you know exactly who I mean. They're 20 times more likely to commit those types of crimes than English nationals, British nationals, whichever way you want to slice it. I prefer with a fuck off great big knife, which, well, this isn't, but maybe I'll do that for my tea tonight. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, Keir the traitor Starmer has not just opened the floodgates. He has imposed bodyguards for that gate. He has effectively made it so that there is a border force, all right. It's a border force that prevents us from stopping them from entering the country, quite frankly. But we have more pressing issues as well, of course. And that is, of course, the Reformians. The Reformians who are die-hard fans, so much so that they have got blinders on to the rest of the road. Stroke number 4. Fucking hell. Blinders on to the world. I'm going back to how I was in January. This is fucking terrible. 4 strokes. Jesus. But they've got blinders onto the world. They're wearing rose-tinted spectacles. They are effectively choosing not to see the real world for what it is. They'd rather live in their own little bubble and pretend that Nijel-Al-Faraji, the Messiah, is going to come and fly on in. June Slater sprang to mind, sorry. But he's going to fly on in and he's going to solve all these problems just like that. No, he isn't. The cold, bitter truth the Reformians won't want to accept is the only reason he said, I will start mass deportations, is because he knew full well he was going to lose a substantial number of votes if he didn't, because the English people don't want a half-hearted effort with the illegal immigration. They want a wholehearted effort, and they want us to start taking out the trash, metaphorically speaking. But people like June Slater are effectively behaving like the groupie that wants to start making out with Nijel-Al-Faraji. Maybe a bit too old, but then again, subjective opinion. But if that's what she's into, she can do that. By all means, don't let me stop her. But you can't behave like a groupie and then expect people not to give you flack for it. You can't expect people to not call out the fact that Nijel-Al-Faraji and Zia Useless, or yet again, maybe I was right first time, have gone out of their way to libelously slander Rupert Lowe. And something I never mentioned in my previous video about June Slater, she didn't mention Rupert Lowe once. She did not condemn Nijel-Al-Faraji and Zia Useless, more importantly, because he was the one who said that Rupert had given death threats out, and that caused his gun collection, which he owns legally, to be taken away from him. Zia Useless was the one who said Rupert Lowe's threatened my life. Even though Rupert Lowe has never done that, he never threatened anybody in the Reform Party, and all this on the back of some workplace bullying within the Reform Party. But June Slater, how much did she say on it? Not a fucking word. And you wonder why people like me are criticising you now, June Slater. Or maybe you don't think much of me. Maybe you don't care what I think. That's fair enough. If you don't really care what I think, you go on ahead, you do you. You keep pursuing your political dream of having one out with Nijel-Al-Faraji. But the way I look at it is this. No matter who it is, I will always call out anybody who decides to resort to that malicious behaviour. I will always furiously rebuke anybody that wants to be like that to other people, that wants to libelously slander half the fucking country as far-right thugs. I will heavily attack Nijel-Al-Faraji when he stabs in the back his core voter base, and those who were supporters of Tommy Robinson, who were told categorically, I mean, I didn't really need that much persuasion, as I saw back in 2024, I took their word in good faith that they were going to actually mean something. Look what happened. Obviously, I didn't make that mistake this year, because obviously I've seen right through that bullshit now. But back in 2024, a lot of us were more than willing to put that tick or the X or a middle finger or whatever it is, basically to say, I am voting for reform. We all did that in good faith. What we did not expect, June Slater, is for your messiah to stab us all in the back. That's the thing. I know you're much smarter than this, June Slater. You may think of me as an arsehole for saying you want to have one out with Nijel-Al-Faraji, but I'm just putting it out there for the context of you basically see, hear and speak no evil. You don't dare criticise reform because you think it would drive people away if they found out the truth. Because that's what it is more than anything. You don't want people to hear the truth about how reprehensible Nijel-Al-Faraji and Zia Useless have behaved towards Rupert Lowe. If it was any other MP, I would say, Nigel, you got to sort out your fucking party, bro. You got to sort out these people who are slandering this man. If it was like that, I'm pretty sure that I could be convinced to vote reform. If it was just an MP doing this, rather than Zia Useless or Nijel-Al-Faraji doing it, all these problems would go away. Just like that. It is because it was those two that people, like myself, feel very, very strongly against voting for reform, quite frankly. It is why I've been saying we need a party that represents us. And unfortunately, people like you, June Slater, and a lot of the other reformians, the diehards, they don't want to accept any other party as a potential solution. They don't care if UKIP actually provides a better solution to this shit, because they're too blinded. I guess I shouldn't really say rose-tinted glasses, because that would imply Labour, wouldn't it? I should say sky blue tinted glasses, shouldn't I? Quite frankly. But that's what it is. Your people have got the sky blue tints on, and you're basically saying, there's no other party out there. Reform are our only hope. Reform are the only party that can beat the nonce party. Sorry, Labour Party. Yet again, maybe I was right first time. You don't want to accept the fact that Nick Tenconi is actually starting to make quite a significant breakthrough. He has been campaigning all over the country to get more attention to the UKIP party, to get more people to sign on. Derbyshire, Bristol, Manchester, he's even been to Norwich. That's just to name a few. He is making waves, while the NPCs that stand up to racism and Antifa and what have you, of course they're going to do everything they can to stop them, because obviously these guys are a real change for this country. And let's be honest, if Nick Tanconi was so fucking small, do you think Antifa would need to interfere? Ask yourself that question. If they were so small, why are Antifa flying in or walking in trying to disrupt this? There's a question you probably won't answer, June. Yes, I'm attacking you. I am attacking you for your blinders, put simply. I'm not attacking you personally. I'm attacking your political views because I think they are fundamentally wrong, and I am challenging them. If you want real change, you're not going to get it with reform, because you know what's going to happen? Let's say, for the sakes of argument, reform win stroke number 5. Man alive. Let's say they win the next general election. Let's say they take control. Let's say Nijel-Al-Faraji is our new Prime Minister. How many of the promises do you think he's going to keep? I can tell you one he's certainly not going to keep. Mass deportations. He's not going to take a heavy stance with Islam. Those are 2 I can guarantee right now that he is going to break just like that. And that's just to name the 2 easiest ones. I know financially he's quite wizened up. So maybe you could make a point, maybe he's going to make a good few points about some taxes or what have you. Do you think he's going to make that much of a difference though? I don't think so, Chief. This ain't it. Nigel will break his promises. He will stab you in the back. Zia Useless may end up being the Prime Minister, and then you really will have a fucking problem, because you know what he'll do? He'll bring in Sharia law. He will bring in the very thing that we must do everything we can to keep out of our great nation. But here you are, June, defending them until your last dying breath, which, devil's advocate, I've got to admire how steadfast you are in wanting to defend them. It is an admirable trait. I just wish it wasn't so misguided, quite frankly. I reckon if you joined UKIP, oh my God, you'd be nigh unstoppable. I'm dead serious. You join UKIP, you side along Nick Tanconi, and he'll give you the real change that we need. And I assure you, he'll make you one of his fucking lieutenants. I swear to God. Because he will see you as someone who's got the brains, may not necessarily be the fighting brawn, but you definitely have the political brawn to hit him right where it hurts. I definitely see you have got a pair of balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to be able to stand up to heavyweights and say, you know what, we need to be doing this, that and the other, rather than pussyfooting around the problem. I can see that. But unfortunately, as I said, it's misguided while you're in reform, quite frankly. Nijel-Al-Faraji, basically, to put a line under that point I made, he made those promises because he knew it would be the only way to get him the votes. Hell, one of them, he only just got the seats. He got it by 6 votes. Which shows you how significant, how mass deportations, that one critical point he made, could have made all the fucking difference. Am I wrong? Prove me wrong. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you think I'm wrong, fucking prove it to me. I would love nothing more than for you to come out and say, I'm wrong. And then give a list of your points and showcase exactly why you think I'm wrong. Hell, I could even do it at my bloody house. I'd even offer you a fucking cup of tea or a cup of coffee. And I like to think I do a bloody good cup, let me tell you. No, not this one. I mean, one of the mugs. Anyway, I guarantee you, I don't think you've got the guts to do that, though. I think you know damn well the cold, bitter truth is Nigel isn't the answer, as much as you'd love to believe it. And he never will be. You may not like what I have to say, but the thing is, and people can say it with me, I'm not going to sugarcoat a motherfucking thing. I'm not going to mince my words. I'm going to say it exactly how it is, and I'll do my best not to bullshit you. And the way I see it, we need a real party that stands by its principles, stands by its convictions, and actually isn't afraid to take on the establishment, no matter what type of slurs or libelous slander they throw at us. Nick's got the balls to stand with Tommy Robinson's supporters. Nigel would rather throw them under the bus. Probably his own fucking reform bus. What say you, June? And what say you, Nijel-Al-Faraji? The bottom line is this. Starmer is about to start a civil war. And when it happens, he will have nobody else to blame but himself for his completely inflammatory remarks towards patriots. His inflammatory statements he's put on the Gov website to try and imply if you're concerned about your country that you're a terrorist when you're really just only a concerned patriot or parent or whatever. You are not a terrorist. I can tell you that from the bottom of my heart. None of you are terrorists. I'm not a terrorist. Paul Thorpe's not a terrorist. Tommy Robinson is not a terrorist. Maya Tuzi is not a terrorist. That's just something Keir the traitor Starmer wants to label us as, so he can basically throw it like a name tag and hope it sticks. But we can just peel those tags off and cast them aside, because they're about as effective as a wet piece of toilet paper, quite frankly. And as far as reform's concerned, as I said before, and we'll say it again, June, you need to wake up. You can't honestly expect a backstabber, a liar, a traitor, a libelous slanderer, and a last-minute changer of promises is the right answer for this country. The only answer is UKIP. And speaking of UKIP, one last point I need to make. I've now taken the liberty to go a step further as far as trying to get this fucking membership card sorted out. So I've mentioned I've messaged the admin team at least 3 or 4 times. They've sent at least 3 cards out to me. I have not received one of them over these last 3 months that I have basically let them know about this. So as of this morning, maybe midday, I sent a tweet and I've sent an email directly to Nick Tenconi. And I'm hoping that he can hear my cry for help, because that is effectively what it is at this point. It is a cry for help to say, look, bud, these 3 cards, they have not reached me. I can't stand for MP in Norwich if I don't have a membership card. Please, can you investigate this? Basically is what I've said. So here's to hoping that Nick Tenconi gets back to me. Here's to hoping that Nick Tenconi will be able to resolve this issue. And maybe, just maybe, I can start standing as an MP in Norwich. Where will I get the funding? I don't fucking know. But what I do know is that I'll do my damnedest for the people of Norwich, even if this is mostly a liberal place. I will have a lot of fucking work to do. I'm going to have to do a lot of sweeping up of trash, let me tell you. But I will do my damnedest, because at the end of the day, that is the main way we're going to get change. I hope we can get that change before it escalates to civil war. But I have a feeling that it may all be too late already.